One of your oldest friends is dead, and you've come to Seattle looking for answers. Whether you're in it for money or just good old-fashioned revenge, there's no mistaking solving this murder is going to cause you some trouble. You'll need all your strength and all your cunning to survive the dark and terrible things that creep in the shadows. Shadowrun Returns is an RPG where you take on the role of a Shadowrunner, a kind of futuristic mercenary who takes on odd jobs in a city filled with magic and technology. At the start of the game, an old acquaintance of yours has been killed, and it's up to you to solve the mystery of his murder. Like most RPGs, at the start of the game, you select your character, choosing your portrait and your race and your class. You can choose between classes such as a warrior and a mage, or, because this is a setting that mixes science fiction and magic, you can choose other classes such as a hacker or a cybernetically enhanced heavy weapons expert. Once you've selected your character and started playing the game, you'll eventually accrue experience, which you can use to upgrade your skills and abilities. Different missions have different objectives. Sometimes you'll need to eliminate enemies, sometimes you'll need to locate an object and then steal it, other times you'll simply be negotiating with people in order to gain information. Now, even though you build your character like you would in an RPG, the game's structure is similar to that of a strategy game. You'll be presented with a series of missions, each one taking place on its own discrete map. You can explore these maps in real time, but once combat begins, the game switches over to turn-based battles. During these combat sequences, you and your party use action points to maneuver around the battlefield and perform attacks. Hiding behind cover gives your troops a defensive bonus, so positioning is key. Once a mission is complete, you'll be rewarded with some experience and some cash, which you can use to buy new weapons, unlock skills, or restock on health packs and grenades. Now, what's great about Shadowrun Returns is it provides you with a variety of classes you can choose from, each with their own strengths and weaknesses. And that might mean using a lot of different weapons or casting magical spells. A good example is the Shaman class, which can not only buff their allies, but summon magical spirits on the battlefield to fight for them. Another good example is the Hacker class. These characters can break into special cyberspace maps in order to disable security or gather information. Overall, Shadowrun Returns just does an excellent job of translating the Shadowrun setting, providing you with a bunch of different classes and environments in which to take advantage of their abilities in quality turn-based combat. The downside to all this is that the game isn't terribly well balanced. And I'm not talking about the balance of the combat. No, combat's actually quite fine. No, I'm talking more the balance of the level design and the story structure. Now, what I mean by level balance is that despite you having all these classes with all their different special abilities, not all of these abilities have the same level of usefulness. So if you're a gunner who specializes in using rifles, congratulations, you'll pretty much be able to use rifles well the entire game. But if you choose a different class, say maybe the hacker, guess what? You can only use your hacking skill at special terminals. And if a level doesn't have one of these terminals, well, congratulations, you're going to wind up feeling just a little bit foolish. I mean, God help you if your main character winds up being in Decker. You might as well be in cruise control the entire second half of the game. Now, not only is the level design underwhelming, the story balance also isn't that great. What do I mean by that? Well, despite the fact that Shadowrun proposes to have a lot of choices that allow you to determine how certain missions turn out, the actual story is almost completely unimpacted by the choices you make. About midway through the game, there's a huge plot twist, which by itself is not a big problem. But then you get to the point where all these high-level NPCs just descend from the raptors like gods of the machine and essentially dictate to you how the story is going to end. And that's infuriating, to play an RPG and spend all this time building your character and coming up with your personality, and then at the end to just have a bunch of self-insertion NPCs come in and lay out the rest of it for you. Shadowrun Returns is a very mixed experience. It's got some interesting RPG elements that translate well into its turn-based combat, and the setting is an intriguing mix of magic and technology. Unfortunately, it's the structure of the game, how it chooses to balance its missions and reveal its story, that winds up being very uneven. I'd give Shadowrun Returns 2 out of 4 stars, but would I recommend it? That's a real maybe. If you're a fan of the Shadowrun setting, or you enjoy tactical turn-based combat, then yeah, you'll probably enjoy it. But if you're looking for an engaging story or an RPG where you have the freedom to explore many options, then you might be disappointed. Alright, thanks for watching. Now I gotta go meet Mr. Johnson, and I'll catch you runners later.